Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexio Picco. I'm the Managing Director of the Circle Group. And I have the pleasure this morning to moderate this event, one of the events set in our series of events connecting EU insights. This morning we have the BCLink project, that is a motorway of the sea project related to the ports of Barcelona and Civitavecchia. We are going to talk about logistic chains between ports, services to support the movement of passengers and cargo, environmental performances. But there is one thing for which this project is rather important, and this is because it's the only motorway of the sea project that was funded in the Connecting Euro Facility, so-called blending code, meaning that it is a particular project that is going to receive funding, grants, but also financial instruments to support the development. So it is the first of this kind, and for that it is important to acknowledge that the two ports did a great job in order to achieve this, to submit it, to achieve. Together with the two ports, we have this morning also other experts to discuss about it. So first of all, we have the president of the Center North Mediterranean Seaport Authority System. The little strange, complicated names we have in Italy for ports, but it's the ports of Rome, mainly ports of Civitavecchia. Mr. Francesco Maria Di Maio, that is going to explain us about the upgrading in the port of Civitavecchia. And for the port of Barcelona, we have the responsible for strategic project and innovation at the port, Carles Acosta. And then we have also the shipping line connecting the two ports, the external relation manager at Grimaldi Group, Paul Cipriano, elaborating on Civitavecchia Barcelona motorway of the sea prospects and challenges. Last but not least, we have the pleasure to have Elena Ienaro, that is the project manager at INEA of the project, that is framing a little bit specifically the project, and also giving us some anticipation, I guess, on future possibilities to submit these kind of projects. So thanks again to the speakers, thanks to the attending people that is coming more and more. So I leave the floor to the president, Francesco Maria Di Maio, for his speech, and you can use your tab in your tab question mode in the GoToWebinar software in order to raise questions that we are going to take for the end of the four presentations. So the floor is yours, Mr. President, and enjoy the webinar.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
We
can see and hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. My name is Francesco Maria Di Maio. I'm the president of one of the 16 port authorities of Italy. Notably, I'm managing 3 ports, Civitavecchia, Gaeta, and Fiumicino. They are the port of the region Lazio. I was asked to make a short presentation of this project that we won together with the authority of Barcelona, l'Autorità Portuaria di Barcelona, in 2017, and we were very pleased and proud to receive the assignment from the European Union. I would like just to remind that this is a project on MOS, motorways of the sea for the future, and it was the first case of blending coal that the European Union was launched in 2017, and it's a project that is going to create for the first time a robust financial assessment on the to combine loan and grants. In this case, we had a grant of the European Union for around for Civitavecchia ports for around 2 million. For Barcelona was maybe you can project the second slide, please. The first slide. Is this possible?
Yes, just 1 second,
Yes,
sorry.
okay. This is the key financial figures. As you can see, the total investment is around 21.5 million, and it's divided between 7.4 million for Port of Civitavecchia and 14.2 for the Port of Barcelona. In the case of Civitavecchia, as I said, 2.2 of this amount was given through a grant of the European Union. We had around 5 million, 4.8 exactly, were given by the EIB, European Bank, and a small part was our resource. As you can see also in this figure. We can maybe pass to the second slide. I would like, first of all, to remind also here the importance of this project in the program of the so-called horizontal priority and maritime pillar in the CEF program. As you know, the maritime MOS, Motorways of the Sea, is a maritime leg of the core network corridors, which are connecting shore sea links with the landside corridors by serving as a functional junction between the different nodes. And this project is a clear example which is going in this direction. And we are, with this project, in a certain sense, encompasses the objective of what Mr. Bodevik has several times underlined, to enhance the maritime dimension of the TNT. And the project is, of course, first of all, is aimed at growing the motorways of the sea, especially between Civitavecchia and Barcelona, and as an alternative to road transport. The attractiveness of the maritime ports is a crucial part in the decision of transporters to choose for a seaborne leg. In 2018, the available capacity of the route Barcelona-Civitavecchia was used up to 19% of its capacity, and there was a risk of losing market share without adequate investments both on maritime and land dimensions. Of course, maritime, we are speaking here on vessels, on ships. In the case of Barcelona-Civitavecchia, was the Grimaldi groups is operating this line. And land dimension, of course, we are speaking about port infrastructure development. The newer large vessels operated by Grimaldi entered into operation in 2019, increasing the capacity of a line by the 20%, with approximately 29-meter lengthening sections. Grimaldi increased the capacity of a line of about 600 additional linear meters for heavy vehicles, 18 sleeping accommodation in the new passengers' cabins, 2 new public spaces with a total capacity of 450 parliament beds and a new 270-seat capacity self-service family restaurant. Here on the bottom, you can see also the time framework of these 2 projects, Barcelona and Civitavecchia. As far as Civitavecchia is concerned, we are going to complete the works not next month, the following month, in December 2020. And we can pass to the third slide, please. You can see this is exactly what is the situation almost up to date. We have almost, as I said, completed the project. The project consists in the construction of a pier 240 meters long and 15 meters broad for the docking of a ro-ro and ro-pax vessels, and for the loading of tractors, buses, trucks, new vehicles, or other cargoes from stern or the bow of the ships. The construction of this pier is part of the works for the construction of a new ro-ro dock aimed to separate the traffics between the port and to define specific functional areas to avoid congestion, especially landside, and to improve the safety of operations. With this pier, I would like also to add that we are going to increase the capacity, as I say, of this dock, which at the moment there are only 3 docks, And with this one, the other three, we are practically more than doubling the capacity of these docks in this case. So giving a concrete answer to the development of the rural traffic in the port of Civitavecchia. Please, the next slide. Here are the main cornerstones of this project. The first point, as I have already underlined, that is a first blending operation and involving two ports of the European Union, Port of Civitavecchia and Port of Barcelona. And before signing this project, of course, the European Commission made a deeply financial assessment on the project. And the same assessment was also done by the EIB, because EIB has, of course, assessed all the financial issues of this project and the capability of also the Italian Civitavecchia Port Authority to be in the position now to pay this loan in the future. The political relevance of investment is demonstrated also by a visit of a coordinator for the motorways of the sea, Bodevic, in Civitavecchia in November last year. And in this case, in this occasion, he could see already in this period the steps that we have done since the beginning of the works. And the industrial relevance of the project is demonstrated looking at the involvement of one of the most important shipping operators of the motorways of the sea, notably the group Grimaldi. And finally, I would like also to underline the fact that the pandemic crisis delayed, of course, the timeline of the works, but nevertheless, we succeeded to save some time due to the speediness of the works in the last period. So we are the delay is actually not so great. And as I said, in December we are supposed to complete the works, and therefore I can only, in conclusion, I can say that I hope that this is one of the projects on the motorways of the sea which demonstrates that the cooperation between the ports of the Mediterranean Sea, especially Spain and Italy in this case, can achieve important results and can contribute in this way to the development of the motorways of the sea on the maritime dimension of the European transport network, and at the same time to also to cooperate and to provide also a concrete support in the environmental aspects, because I would like also to stress finally that this project is going to shift from road to sea a big part of the transport of the import-export traffic between Spain and Italy. So we are very proud that we are going also to contribute to this very important goal, notably the reduction of emission and decongestion. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening.
Thanks a lot, President Di Maio, and also thanks a lot to take your time, precisely the time. So we move now to the port of Barcelona. In the meantime, there are also already some questions coming, but I leave this for the end. I leave Barcelona. We have to manage the presentation from Carles Rua, more or less the same, in the same model that we use for the president, meaning that our team Marika will change the slides and Carles will.
Okay.
Carles, the floor is yours. Thanks so much.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
Carles.
Okay. Now, first of all, I'm connected by my mobile phone, so it's I think you cannot see me, and it will be a little bit tricky to move the slides and so on. But anyway, I will try to make the presentation. Okay, the topic is the BCLink project, but I will not talk about the BCLink project. I will try to talk about why we need projects like BCLink, because okay, my presentation will be a little bit tricky because BCLink project was asked or was presented in 2017, and I will talk about the analysis we have made now in 2020. So this is not the basis for the BCLink project, but this is a confirmation that this kind of projects will be necessary and will be required in the future. Okay, so the first thing we have to say is that now the Port of Barcelona is developing his strategic plan. It will be finished next month probably, and it will be presented and approved by our board of directions. Okay, so in this strategic plan, we have worked with some consultant companies. Some of them were Blue Focus and Ports and Logistic Advisory, and we asked them about to analyze the future of the European market related to maritime traffic, okay? But with a very long perspective. So this is what we call the Vision 2040, okay? Why 2040? Because at the end, when you are talking about port infrastructure, you need a long time for depreciation and for these kind of things. I mean, from the moment you decide to construct an infrastructure to the moment in which the infrastructure is under operation, or under normal conditions of operation, maybe 10, 12 years can succeed with the environmental analysis, with the construction, with the tenders, and so on. No? So ports, the evolution of ports, it's a very slow process, and you need to think in a very long future. Okay, so we ask these consultants to analyze what will happen in Europe in the next 20 years in order to know what to do in the Port of Barcelona. Okay, of course, to make a forecast for 20 years, it's nearly impossible. So you have to work under the concept of scenarios. And in this analysis, we develop 4 different scenarios based in 2 axes. The first one is the world development, how it will evolve the world itself. I mean, we will grow as a global planet a lot, or we will have a small growing for the next year. And the second axis is what will happen with Europe, because the behavior of Europe probably will be very different than the behavior of the world. The growing, as everybody knows, will be concentrated not in Europe, the old Europe, that with a population stagnation in their population, and with some of their key industries now under challenges or big challenges, but also the world probably will be more growing environment, no? With population growing in Asia and in Africa in the next years, and so on. So if you combine these 2 scenarios, what will happen in the world and what will happen in Europe, you will find 4 different scenarios, 4 different analyses. If the world grows and Europe finds his place in this growing world, we will have a global prosperity. If the world maintains the growing situation, but Europe is stagnated based on tourism, the industry disappears, and so on, we will have a decadent Europe. If the world doesn't grow as much as we imagine, but Europe can take a sustainability challenge and so on, we will talk about a Renaissance Europe inside this globalized environment. And if everything goes bad, for example, if COVID maintains for years, and we can talk about a global stagnation of the markets. No, so those are the 4 scenarios we have analyzed. No, next, please. this is more or less this is the same, but with some numbers put in every of these four scenarios. No? So we analyzed the situation in all of them in these four scenarios, and we tried to imagine or to see the evolution of European maritime traffic in each of these scenarios. And the result of our analysis is the next slide, please. This one. I mean, there are some cargo that will decrease in any scenarios. For example, liquid bulk or coal and ore. Not good time for this kind of cargo. Talking in the long future, probably, for example, liquid bulk will continue increasing till 2025, maybe 2030. But in the long future, everybody realizes that the movement of the bulk liquid cargo, mainly petrol, oil, and derivatives, will decline in a deep way in the long perspective. Same happens with some big minerals and so on. If you look at these figures that show the evolution or the possible evolution of many traffics in the future, you will see that there are few traffics that, well, they are intending to grow in each scenario. Independent of what will happen in the future in Europe and in the world, one of these scenarios is ro-ro cargo, that includes motorways of the sea and short sea shipping. If there is a global prosperity, or you have in the scenario of a Renaissance Europe, there will be a sharp increase of the ro-ro cargo along the short sea shipping routes in Europe. If we're talking about global stagnation and a decadent Euro scenario, it will not have so a strong increase of the traffic, but it will be also an increase. Not many traffics have this kind of evolution. We are only thinking in two or three of them. Import of export of containers, but in any case as sharp as in the case of ro-ro cargo, and also cruise passengers. Of course, I know that cruises are not in the best moment with coronavirus, but you have to think that in 2040 there will be maybe 2 additional billions of people with interest in traveling alongside the world. I'm talking about the new middle class that will appear in Asia and probably in Africa. So we will have billions of new potential clients for tourists and also for cruise industry. So in our opinion, cruise traffic now is in a very difficult situation, but if coronavirus passes and we have a vaccine and so on, it will be solved the problem in the medium and long term. But ro-ro cargo will grow in any of these 4 scenarios, and that's short sea shipping, and that's motorways of the sea. Why we think that short sea shipping and motorways of the sea will grow in any scenario? Please, the next one. Mainly because there are many trends that show that possibility. The first one is the nearshoring. Some companies are trying to move the production. They are aware of the possible disruptions, the problems of the commercial wars, and so on. So some big companies are trying to move their production centers closer to the real markets. That means that probably there will be a change from the deep sea transport to a short sea transport. Then you have to think that we are in the Mediterranean, and one of the continents with most possibilities to grow is Africa. And from the next, I think it's 3 billion people that will grow the world in the next years, two of them, that means 2 additional billion people, will born in Africa. So that means a huge potential market just under us, no, on the other side of the Mediterranean. That means that huge possibility also for short sea shipping lines, no? Sustainability and also the pressure of external cost for road means that short sea shipping is a sustainable alternative. And also the increase of the west-east Mediterranean traffic, and very important, the evolution of the Belt and Road Initiative. We are talking a lot about the Belt and Road Initiative in Europe, with the investments of China, as an example, in Piraeus and some other ports. But you have to take into account that China is buying a lot of things in Africa. So you will have the shared power of 2 continents that in the middle will have the Mediterranean. So this is a big opportunity for short sea shipping in both sides of the Mediterranean. Okay, I remember that a few years ago, and this is an example I always put on over the table. A few years ago, I bought an iPod Nano for my wife, and I bought by internet, and it was sent by a Chinese company, Foxconn, but the factory, the origin of the good of the iPod was Somalia, in Africa, and that was when I started to think, okay, maybe Asia is not the future, maybe Africa is the future, and Africa is in the other side of the Mediterranean. Okay, next one, please. So the next thing we did is to analyze how this evolution of the traffic can affect ports like Barcelona. And this is our land share now, the concession land areas in the port at this moment. That means that most of the port area is dedicated to cargo management, loading and unloading. We have about 69% of the port dedicated to traditional maritime operations, about 22% dedicated to logistic, to our logistic area, 5% for leisure and nautic. Cruises is only 1% of the concessions, and some industrial developments, about 3%. Okay, each port differs, and also talking about the share of the goods or the merchandise dedicated area. You can see that about 40% is dedicated to containers, about 30% is dedicated to liquid bulk, and so on. How will be that in the future? So if you go to the next one, to the next slide, is the last one. Under our opinion, of course, the port will be bigger because we have plans to enlarge all the ports, but the share of the different areas will change a lot in the next 20 years. As an example, we consider that the part of the port dedicated to loading and unloading, that means traditional port operations, will be quite reduced. The port dedicated to logistic activities, or the new logistic and added value activity, will grow. The part dedicated to leisure and nautic will also grow, and it will appear new activities like energy production, or I don't know, urban distribution, or some activities related to mobility and so on, that probably we have to take into account in the use of the land area. But talking about the transport activity related to the port, the traditional maritime operations, will maintain, I think, the share of the container traffic. Of course, the share of the land dedicated to bulk or especially liquid bulk cargo will be quite reduced. And the big winner in everything of this analysis will be the Ro-Ro Ro-Pax cargo, that will grow from from a 7% of the current use to a 20% in the next 20 years. That means that we have to dedicate more and more areas of the port to short sea shipping and more motorways of the sea in the next and long future. And we have to work in that direction. So BCLink is a project that what really wants is to enhance and to improve the areas of the Port of Barcelona dedicated to the short sea shipping. And looking at this last slide, we can say that this will be the first of many projects that will try to provide better infrastructures and better elements for the development of short sea shipping and motorways of the sea. And that's on for me at all. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Carles. It was very interesting to see how you approached the Port of Barcelona, approached the future scenarios, and arriving at the consideration at the end that Ro-Ro Pax is an important element to be developed. This is really crucial, I think, and to understand the future and to prepare the future, because whatever you are going to do in a port, it takes time. It takes a lot of time and development. It's important also to have the real possibility and challenges, because sometimes we have seen many times all over Europe that the main point in each and every port, okay, is trying to extend and enlarge to accommodate larger, bigger vessels. This may be true or maybe not true. So it's important that a port is having a strategy and analyzing scenarios for that. And BCLink is, of course, a project that could support this strategy on the long term. Thanks for that. Now we go to the shipping side, and so I invite to speak to the stage Paul Cipriano, that's the external relation responsible in the Grimaldi Group, to give the view of the shipping line in the connection, but the overall vision for motorway of the sea. Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So,
sorry, Paul, can you turn on your webcam, please?
It's not turned on?
No.
Now?
Okay, good.
Good.
Good, you can go.
Just want to see my presentation. I see myself, but I cannot see. Okay, that's fine now. Thank you for the invitation to attend this this webinar on the BCLink project. As you know, we have been supporting this project since the beginning, because we are the main beneficiary. So for us, it was extremely important that the investments that both the Port of Barcelona and the Port of Civitavecchia intended to do would get EU funding through the Connect Euro facility blending call. So for us, it was extremely important, because as a company, since the beginning, since the launch of this project, we have been investing a lot, and we have continuously upgraded the service that we are offering to our customers. And it was time that also from on the land side, some investments had to be done. So I'll go straight. I will just make an overview of how this service evolved. This service was an idea of Emanuele Grimaldi, who is our managing director. It was I remember, because we were talking to and he told me one day, look, he was in front of a map, and he was saying, look, the best line in the Mediterranean, I will tell you which is the one. And then he put his finger on Civitavecchia and then on Barcelona. He said, "This is the line of the future, and this is where I want to develop my my services." Obviously, it was the beginning of the millennium, and it was when our company was gradually investing in short sea services. We already had some other services to Valencia, from Salerno, and other ports, but we had nothing from Civitavecchia to Barcelona. And so in 2004, there's a launch of the first service with a vessel called Eurostar Roma. It was a RoPax vessel whose loading capacity was for 1,010 trucks. It was also transporting passengers and cars. And the frequency of the service was 3 times a week, because we only had one vessel. So the vessel was sailing one day to Civitavecchia, arriving the following day in Barcelona, then sailing back. So the service was, in the beginning, it was only 3 times a week, but the customers we had, which were mainly trucking companies, were very much satisfied about the alternative that we were offering to road transport, because at that time, the vast majority of traffic between Italy and Spain, and when I say Spain, I also include Portugal, so the Iberian Peninsula, was moving by road. So the services by sea were very limited, and there was a need to further expand the maritime links, the motorways of the sea between Italy and Spain. Thanks to the big interest that we had from customers, the following year we decided to double the service, and we introduced another vessel called the Eurostar Barcelona, which was similar to the Eurostar Roma, and the service was the frequency of the service doubled. So we went from 3 times a week to 6 times a week, meaning practically a daily service from both ports. The big change we had on this line was in 2008 with the gradual replacement of the Eurostar Roma and the Eurostar Barcelona with 2 newly built cruise ferries, 2 vessels which were built in Castellammare di Stabia close to Naples. And we are talking about the Cruise Roma and the Cruise Barcelona, the vessels that are currently serving both ports. These vessels were at that time and they still are, because then they were obviously lengthened, the biggest cruise ferries deployed in the Mediterranean, with a capacity of 2,300 passengers, 215 cars, and 170 trucks. The frequency remained the same, so it was 6 times a week from both ports. And in 2009, we included also Porto Torres in the north western part of Sardinia as a port of call of the vessels sailing from Civitavecchia and going to Barcelona, and then from Barcelona coming back, also making a stop at Porto Torres. And that was a possibility to develop the transport of trucks from the area of Civitavecchia to Porto Torres, to the north western part of Sardinia and back to Civitavecchia, but also from between Spain and that part of Sardinia. And what we also allowed was the development of tourism between the island of Sardinia and Spain, particularly with Catalonia, which has historical links with that island, especially with the area of Alghero, which is not far away from Porto Torres. Obviously, the investments that were made were not only limited to vessels, but as a company, we have been expanding also our terminal facilities around the world with different terminals and ports which were built or bought in different parts of the world, and Civitavecchia and Barcelona were to be included also in this strategy of expanding our activities on the shore side. So we between 2005 and 2010 we expanded our presence in Civitavecchia with concession agreements with the Civitavecchia at the time called the Port Authority. The initial area was to 7,500 square meters, then which was extended to 18,000, and that was for the storage of trucks and trailers, which would be transported on our short sea services, and especially the one to Spain, to Civitavecchia, to Barcelona. And also in Barcelona in 2013, we had a major investment which was made, which was called Primadi Terminal Barcelona, and with the construction, with the long-term concession given by the Barcelona Port Authority at Muelle Costa, with a surface of over 60,000 square meters for the handling of any rolling equipment, which so it could be cars, trucks, vans, and anything which would be transported on wheels. And then we had the construction of a three-level building for the to be dedicated to offices, shopping area, restaurant, and conference room. That was a major, let's say, investment that we made in Barcelona, because for us, Barcelona is a strategic port for us, and that allowed us to further develop the transport of freight, but also of passengers, because as you can see, we can handle through this terminal and through the finger that we have almost 2,000 passengers embarking and almost 2,000 passengers disembarking at the same time. So that was a major investment that was made. But that didn't stop there, because in 2019, so last year, and we made, due to the fact that, as President Di Maio was saying, we had the capacity of both the Cruise Barcelona and the Cruise Roma fully occupied by the freight that we are transporting. We decided that we needed to further upgrade the loading capacity of this vessel. So we made a decision. I mean, the alternative, either we would have to build another vessel, or, and that was the decision that was made, to lengthen the vessels. And we decided to go for this second solution. So both vessels at the beginning of 2019, so in the first semester, they were sent to the shipyard of Fincantieri in Palermo. They were lengthened by almost 30 meters, which increased the loading capacity of each vessel to 3,500 passengers, 270 cars, and 210 trucks each. So we, let's say, we put the basis for a future increase of freight on this route. But we didn't stop just to the increase of the capacity. We also made important retrofit works on both vessels. The biggest one was the installation of mega battery packs made of lithium, which allow now both vessels to not to burn any gas oil while at berth, which means that through electricity which is produced by these battery packs, vessels do not emit any they don't produce any emissions inside the port, and this retrofit was also we have expanded it. We have put it also on other vessels, and this is what we call the zero emission import solution. I think it gives a very big contribution to reducing the emissions of vessels inside port areas. The other thing that we also did was the installation of exhaust cleaning systems, what we call scrubbers, which are eliminating sulfur emissions and other emissions from vessels. You can see beneath some of the photos of the cutting of the vessel, installation of scrubbers and batteries, which have made also this route much greener than in the past. Now going straight to the BCLink project, because obviously this is the main issue that we are discussing today. We have been since the port of Civitavecchia and the port of Barcelona decided to join forces and to present a project under the connectivity facility blending call. I think it was 2017, if I'm not wrong. We decided we immediately supported the project. For us, it was extremely important that all these investments that were made from our side, so upgrading the service, increasing the loading capacity, reducing the footprint, the environmental footprint that these vessels were having. All these investments needed to be, let's say, joined by an upgrade also of the shore facilities, infrastructural, the infrastructure that was to be used by these vessels. So we fully supported it because we are the main beneficiary currently of this investment. There's a real need to improve these shore investments, and this is not only from a point of view of storage, so storage of freight, which is being handled by these vessels, but also berthing facilities, which are much needed, both in Civitavecchia and Barcelona. And what is also very important is the fact that this project, which was financed by the European Commission, is a recognition of the strategic importance of this service, of the Civitavecchia-Barcelona motorway of the sea. It is a project, it is a route, it is a motorway of the sea which has been there for 15 years, and it is one of the backbones of the network of short sea services that the Grimaldi Group has created in the last years. And so the fact that the European Commission, through obviously the hard work of both port authorities, managed to decided to invest and to finance to cover part of the expenses of concerning these shore facilities that are going to be used by among others by us. That was for us was very important. From our side, in Civitavecchia, we have already expressed our interest to extend our presence in the southern part of the area, which is currently being developed. I was happy to see, because I recently, a few months ago, I went to see the area where the berth is being constructed with President Di Maio, and I was glad to see that works were going on, and that let's say that you could see finally how this area will be in the future. This is the area that we call Barcelona Traghetti. And then in Barcelona, we look forward to the construction of the third berth. at Muelle Costa. I know that there have been some delays, but talking to our man in Barcelona, he told me that work should start very soon, because for us it is very important. While we wait for these infrastructural works, we are not stopping from expanding our terminal facilities in Barcelona too, and this is where we are planning to have this. We are investing on this 4-level building in Barcelona for the storage of cars. All this is needed because if we want to continue expanding and continue having more freight, which is going to be handled between Civitavecchia and Barcelona, we need to have an upgrade of the infrastructure in both ports. The current situation with the pandemic, with the coronavirus pandemic, has obviously had an impact on all of us, on the port authorities, on the shipping operators. But I think we need to go on. This will end, we hope, soon. From our side, we have seen in the beginning, we had obviously a drop of everything, passengers and freight. Now freight is at normal levels, and we think that it will further grow. So I think the investments that are being made within the BCLink project are going into the right direction. So thank you for the opportunity given to me to make this presentation, and we look forward to see the investments that both ports are making to be completed.
Thanks a lot, Paul, for the overall broad presentation of the improvements you are making. And I have already prepared a question for you later on. And before going on with the Q&A, we have the presentation with Ela Llenaro from INEA. That's the agency of the Commission that is managing the project. So, Irina, the floor is yours.
Yes. Hello?
Okay,
Sorry,
we can hear
Paul,
you, Irina.
Paul, can you turn off your webcam and Irina turn on yours? Okay, very good.
Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot for having given me the opportunity to participate in this important seminar on. I am Elena Genaro, the project manager of BCLink in INEA. And my presentation will have 3 parts. First, I will remind you what INEA's role is as regards CEF funding. Then I will explain a bit BCLink and the INEA's expectations as regards this project. And then I will give a brief presentation on the CEF funding opportunities for the maritime sector. So INEA is an executive agency, the Innovation and Networks Executive Agency from the European Commission. That means that we are an executive arm, so we implement different programs. One of it is CEF, Connecting Europe Facility, and the transport sector. We also manage the programs, the CEF Energy and CEF Telecom until now, and also parts of Horizon 2020. For CEF Transport, we manage 23 billion euro, so in grants. And our expertise is program implementation and project management. So it means that we publish the calls for proposals. We work on the evaluation, so we organize the evaluation of the projects. and then we negotiate the grants, the grant agreements, so the contracts with the beneficiaries, and follow the entire project life cycle. The role of the project manager then is to go through all this process with a portfolio of projects, and then we of course let's say follow the grant and make sure that give support to the beneficiaries to make sure that the allocation of the grant is spent in the objectives that the contract that the project has in the contract. So we are, let's say, executive arm, meaning that we implement the program, we allocate the money, but we do not decide the policy priorities. So this is the DG MOVE, the Director General for Mobility and Transport of the European Commission. They are responsible for defining the policy strategy and the program priorities. And then we implement, we provide the funding, and then we also give feedback to the DG MOVE to, let's say, straighten or more, well, let's say, fine-tune the priorities, and also for policy feedback. BCLink, as you have mentioned, Alessio, is a project that was an important MOS project that applied in what we call the blending calls in 2017. These were the only calls that were aimed at increasing the participation of the private sector investment in the construction of the European transport infrastructure. What did this mean? This meant that there was a coexistence of the private sector finance investors with the grant. So the CEF grant was conditioned to the fact that the beneficiaries had obtained a loan from these private sector investors. In this case was the EIB that gave a loan to the port of Civitavecchia. The BCLink is an important project, and the aim is to upgrade the link that we've been discussing, Civitavecchia and Barcelona. Concretely, we are investing in the construction of Pier 2 in Civitavecchia, and then upgrading the port of Barcelona to let's say, to enhance and to improve the MOS traffic. INEA's expectations are, of course, that the project is successful and it's achieved, the objectives are achieved, and that the money is spent in the upgrading of the ports according to the description of the activities and the budget and the timetable. There is a very good cooperation between beneficiaries and with INEA. And as it was mentioned by President Di Maio, there was some delays, but the timetable is catching up, and our expectations are of course that these upgrades are achieved in both ports, and that this will improve the operational efficiency and the hinterland connectivity of the ports. We acknowledge the importance of these ports in the Mediterranean Sea Basin as main drivers of the international trade. This part will be now on the CEF possibilities, the funding possibilities for maritime operators currently under the current TNT guidelines that are now being discussed for revision in the future. But currently, the possibilities are for ports and maritime operators are motorways of the sea. So this initiative, it's a horizontal priority from CEF and focuses on ports infrastructure upgrades of the short sea shipping links, the environmental performance, and wider benefits, as for example, hydrographic studies, or it could be sea traffic management projects. We also finance ports, and in the priority of maritime ports, this is more focused on upgrading of ports infrastructure, basic ports infrastructure. There is also the possibility for ports and maritime operators to apply under the horizontal priority called Innovation and New Technologies, which focuses on the promotion of use of alternative fuels and facilities in ports. There has also been some calls focusing on synergies, so trying to create synergies between the part of CEF focusing on transport and also the one focusing on energy. So energy and transport projects. And there is also the blending facility. This is not to be mistaken with the blending calls under which the BCLink applied. Port of Civitavecchia in Barcelona applied in 2017 for these blending calls for proposals. Here it's a different kind of facility. So the blending developed in this facility, which is an innovative approach based on a cooperation between the private sector investment banks. So it can be, there is a list, there are private banks that are considered implementing partners, and they let's say they give a loan to beneficiaries who then apply also a grant for CEF grants to INEA. So there is currently 149 million of euro for alternative fuels, and there has been 4 deadlines, 4 cut-off dates. It's only one work program with 4 dates, and the next cut-off date is on 13th of November, very soon. There is also the last CEF call for proposals where ports can apply. Is the last call, and it will be probably open in December. And let's say the amount is small, so the scope will also be small, probably only focusing on studies under funding objective 1. And then there is currently CEF 2 regulation, which is also will focus, will be the continuation of CEF 1, focusing on building, developing, modernizing, and completing the trans-European networks in the fields of transport, energy, and digital. 60% of it, CEF expenditure, will contribute to climate objectives, and there will be also emphasis on synergies among other sectors. The budget is still under negotiation. There is an agreement between the member states, but the European Parliament agreement is pending. The specific feature of the CEF 2 program is that there will be one multi-annual work program to be adopted, covering the calls for the next 3 years. So one program and the same work program for the next 3 years. And that's all from me. And thanks. I don't know if you have any questions.
Thanks a lot, Elena. And thanks also for the anticipation about the next call. I think we have one question about this, starting from you, because about the next call. So you, just to, if you can elaborate a bit more, you mentioned that the budget will be limited, the last CEF 1 call in studies, and just the funding objective 1 is just to, if you can elaborate a bit more on the funding objective.
Yeah. It's removing bottlenecks, rail interoperability, and bridging missing links, focusing on cross-border. So meaning that the ports, the priorities are for ports, for inland ports, for maritime ports, railways, and roads. That would be funding objective. But this is still under discussion. There is nothing definitive on this. It's most probably the call now is will focus on studies under this funding objective.
That's clear. That's clear. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So I have also some other questions for the other three speakers. The first one is a little bit political for Carles. It's about how in the, let's say, understanding and sketching the future scenarios of the port of Barcelona, how the potential independency of the region have been, let's say, taken into account, and if is going potential to influence this or not, and what are the possible impacts of this if this is going to happen. So it's a little bit political, Carles, but okay, it's up to you to answer. Carles, are you there? You have your micro switched off. Carles, are you there? Otherwise, I move to the next one, to the president of the port. Let's see if Carles is there. So I move to the second question to the president of the port. Francesco, is there is one question about the fact that it's important to highlight the fact that the port of Civitavecchia is not only investing in infrastructure development, but also you have a number of development in terms of environmental protection. And also personally, I've seen a lot of news in social networks about the capability to recover energy from waves and many other things. So would you like to elaborate a bit more on the environmental strategy of the port itself? Thanks. And you can come on stage switching on micro and camera. I have a doubt that I'm talking to anyone because can you hear me, Gloria Marica?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Carla, can you hear us?
Because it seems that the speakers are not there or are not listening at least. So
I'm still listening. I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Please go on.
I just have to apologize because in maybe 5 minutes I have to leave, unfortunately. I don't know, you addressed the question also to me, or was
Yes, it was a question to you about the fact that you are the port is not only investing in infrastructure development but also in a lot in environmental protection. And so if you can elaborate a bit on the environmental protection measures that the port is going on, due to the fact they are quite important and significant.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is quite complex. We had carried out several initiatives since 2017. Some initiatives are related to incentives, also to ship owners, ship line, which are using technology which are high performance in terms of reduction of emission. And we have introduced in 2018 a new system of incentive and discount, for instance, for the price of baggage and waste produced by the ships. We are also working on infrastructure which are as much as possible environmentally friendly. Of course, we are focusing also on again on modal shift from road to sea, but also from road to railway. In this respect, we have carried out in the last years a very important project on the last mile railway last mile, which obtain also a new contribution, because it was awarded to the Port Authority Civitavecchia, an important project on this respect, and we received €4 million as a grant from the European Commission again on a CEF program, and we have recently awarded the tender on the project, and we are foreseen in beginning of 2021 the realization of a new railway line in the port of Civitavecchia, and enhance the capacity of the railway. And this will be also in connection with the dock, which I was speaking before, on the ro-ro and ro-pax sector. And furthermore, we had also in the last period project, a very interesting project on recycle of plastic in the coastal surrounding the port of Civitavecchia. And it was a project which involved also fishermen, which are collecting the plastic, unfortunately, which they daily they are going to collect in the sea, and they are giving practically this plastic, conferring the plastic to a certain point, to a sort of container, and the plastic is also used to create clothes. This is a so-called circular economy, and this project is also financed by some private entrepreneurs. And we had also other projects which are ongoing for hydrogen, and also on the production of energy from waves. And all this project has been analyzed in our annual document that we are drafting, which is called the Documento, in English is a document for energy planning and environmental protection. And this is a very analytic and quite complex document, and which in this document you will find all initiatives that we have carried out and the initiative that we are going to carry out in the future. And in this respect, I can also say that Port of Civitavecchia received a sort of recognition, very important, from probably Remtech, Alexio. Remtech
yes.
is last year we received a sort of award for in recognition on all the initiatives that we have done in the field of environmental protection. So there are many things to say, but I think not the time now. But of course, I'm available to provide you all the information on this respect.
Thanks a lot. I think it was quite elaboration on that, because it's really important what you are doing. So it's important to cope infrastructure and environmental protection at the same level. So Carles, you should be there, I guess. So again, I repeat my
now yes, I was admitted by the organization, so I had to call you to know. But anyway,
no worries.
Maybe it seems that I was trying to avoid a difficult question, and it was what you were right. Okay. The port is in a very strange situation because, in fact, the Port of Barcelona belongs to the central government, to the Spanish system, so we belong to the ministry. But at the same time, our president is nominated by the regional government, by Catalonian government. So, I mean, we have in an entity belonging to the central government, the president nominated by the Generalitat government. Well, this is the situation in the port. If you talk me about the impact of the independence and so on, I can give you a personal opinion, official opinion, because I don't know on that. No? I mean, in a short time, of course, there will be an impact on that, but in the long term, I think that the economy goes over political situations, and at the end, you have to take into account that 80% of the market of the Port of Barcelona is the Catalonia region, and only 20% comes from abroad, more or less 20-25%. So the biggest part of our traffic is in the closest area of Catalonia. What will be the impact? I don't know. Nobody knows on that. No, nobody also is considering, as we belong to the central government, so the scenario in which the independence is an option, or because we belong to the central government. No? So I don't know what more to say on that. You have to take into account, and I always, when people ask about me about these questions, I always put the situation of a terminal 100 kilometers far away from Barcelona. It's the terminal in Tarragona. In the port of Tarragona, there is a container terminal that belongs to is shared by two partners. The first one is Dubai Ports Holding. The second one is Israel. And probably this is a good example that business is business, and the political elements are well, another thing to take into account.
Thanks a lot, Carles. It's clear it was even a little bit provocative because it's a really difficult, let's say, answer. But of course, it's important also to understand the frame in which you are living. The fact that you belong to the national government, the president is appointed by the local one. So this makes things not easy for sure, and that is quite much understandable. Last question of the day is for Paul. It's a little bit also provocative, knowing your position, Paul. Is what in a nutshell the three main keywords for the future of motorways of the sea, Paul?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, really in three keywords for the future of motorways of the sea.
This is a good question. This is very, it's a bit tricky.
Sorry, Paul, can you turn on your webcam in order to see you? Okay, very good.
Okay, good. So I would say the first one is level playing field that should be continue to remain with regards to motorways of the sea. That means that the ongoing, I mean, the regulation that we have today that should respect the fact that there should be no distortion of competition between motorways of the sea. Between operators, and unfortunately, what we have seen is that with the COVID-19, this has not been the case. That we have in some countries governments which have given financial assistance to operators instead of other ones. So this is one issue that needs to be let's say tackled by member states and the Commission. Because this is not the way we should go for further. The other one is obviously infrastructure. There's still a lot of things that need to be done in terms of port infrastructure concerning the motorways of the sea. As a line, as a company, we have done a lot in order to develop our network of short sea services in the Mediterranean, but also in the Baltic and in the North Sea. And I think that if we want to continue in that path and continue having further development of the motorways of the sea as an alternative to road transport, I think that port infrastructure, but not only, also links to the hinterland, to rail and to road network has to be developed. I think that BCLink is one of the examples that money is being EU money is being invested in a proper way, and I think that that is an example for the future. And then the other thing is that we need to maybe to tackle is the future. I mean, in terms of the uncertainty that we are having, that we are facing in the future, and which is changing the scenario in which we are working. As a company, we are very much, let's say, we are going through this difficulty with because we are a strong company, and because of the fact that we are more oriented towards freight. So the question is, are the motorways of the sea in the future going to be only mainly vessels which transport freight? Are they going to be, as we have, some vessels are going to transport also passengers, and what is going to be the ratio between freight and passengers? As you have seen, those companies that had are more oriented towards passengers, so towards the tourism, the tourist, let's say, season, are suffering a lot. And this is something that we need to think in the future, because motorways of the sea are also very much linked to the transport of passengers. And that needs to be seen how some operators are going to survive in this situation, and if the type of vessels that we're going to have in the future are going to be maybe more oriented towards freight and less towards passengers, because obviously those who are relying more on seasonal, let's say, traffic flows are suffering, and they have there's a risk of not surviving after this pandemic. So these are more or less the ideas I'm putting on the table. But there's many more that we could discuss, but obviously in a few minutes there's no time. I cannot hear you.
Sorry, the very last one that I got from the audience is probably for all of you. Depends who would like to answer, because it's about the fact that if, in your opinion and forecast, would short sea shipping change the need for capital dredging in expansion projects in the Med? So this is probably more for the ports, for the president and for Carlos. So if you think that the needs of dredging, capital dredging, will be increased in the future due to the short sea shipping increase or not, or this is something that is more strictly related to big container vessels.
I think that it's not required a capital dredging for short sea shipping. Maybe some wharf or berths are not suitable ones. But anyway, at least in the port of Barcelona, the port is getting enlarged to the south, and when you are moving to the south, that means that you have deeper waters than in the existing one, and the parts in the north are more and more dedicated to port city uses, and they are the most critical in terms of dredging. So I think that thinking about the future, that the requirements for additional dredging will be covered with the movement of the most challenging areas in that way to the south. So, but no, I don't expect additional dredging for short sea shipping itself. Okay, of course, containers is another thing. They are every time bigger and bigger, but not deeper. That's another question. I think, and this is an opinion because it's something also we have analyzed for the for our strategic plan. Ultra large containers are getting bigger and bigger in terms of mainly the wide part of the vessel, not the length or not the draught, because it's about 16, half past 16. So maybe we arrive at 17, 18 meters, but it will be a very absolutely huge vessel. In terms of size, something bigger than 18 meters in a container vessel. And take into account that short sea vessels, if you are moving motorways of the sea, ro-ro cargo, it's not a heavy one. So you don't need big dredging capabilities. Probably some berths are becoming useless because they are closer to the city. But it's, in my opinion, this is only a local problem, but not a general one.
Okay, thanks, Carles. I think this was the last one. We are perfectly in time. Thanks for coming and joining. Thanks to the speakers. Thanks to the attendees. Thanks to the team, to Marika and Gloria specifically. And I think it was very interesting to discuss with you. BCLink is not finished. We are going to have further events during the project. As connecting new insights, they are not finished. We have another one coming at 2 o'clock, and then the interview with the coordinator of the Atlantic Corridor coming at 5 p.m. this afternoon. So stay tuned to Connecting EU Insights, and thanks a lot, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Alessio. Thank you to all of you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.